Welcome to Revealed,
revealing the unseen of weddings.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Holly.
And we're here to pull back the veil on one of the most extravagant, emotional, and sometimes downright crazy industries out there.
Whether you're a bride or groom-to-be, seasoned wedding pro, or just someone who loves a good story, you're in the right place.
So today we're still not podcast professionals yet, as Holly said last episode. Today we are sitting on Holly's couch with tea in front of us and a much quieter dog on this end. Ram was not invited to the shindig today.
No. Poor Ram. Rambo.
He tries.
Hallie's here with us and she's a sleepy girl.
Super sleepy. So on this episode, we are going to just talk a little bit about personal stories from weddings we've worked, some horror stories, some funny stories. We're going to give you some stories that we found of other people's horror stories, and then do like a unpopular opinion and like recommendations just for our specific industry of hair and makeup, some to-dos and what not to-dos on your day of.
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Do you want to go first or should I go first?
I mean, do you have one that's like coming to your mind?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, go right ahead. Take it away.
So it was in the beginning of COVID times. So
it was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
And we didn't really know what was like happening yet. So like everybody was just, I think it was like April, you know, like how everything really like shit hit the fan in March. So like April, everything like, especially here in South Carolina, was like open-ish, but like there are certain like rules that you had to follow and certain rules that you didn't have to follow. But anyway, I woke up that morning and I felt absolutely terrible. I was like, I have to go to this wedding and I didn't want to let the bride down. And to preface this, the bride did not have a trial. Like this was a...
Wait, so her wedding was still happening during COVID?
Yes. Yeah. So,
that's crazy.
Yes.
Because our industry got shut down forever, I feel like, because of not necessarily us, but the size restraints with the venues.
Yeah, so it was like, I'm pretty sure it was in April, but it may have been May, because I can't remember how long everything was shut down here, but I know that we opened a lot faster than most states.
We did. I just feel like a lot of the weddings, although I'm saying that, I know the venue that I got married at, I don't know how they filed it, but they were established as oh my gosh, what were they calling? Oh, essential businesses. And I even asked when I was planning my wedding, like if there was another shutdown, would I have problems? And they said that I wouldn't have to worry on their end because they were listed as an essential. So that could be it too.
Yeah, maybe.
It could have been April, and if it was an essential business, they wouldn't have had to be worried about being closed.
Yeah. So I was like super sick, and obviously I'm wearing a mask. And looking back on it, I absolutely would not have done this again. Because it was one, terrible, and two, like, it was just terrible. But the bride wanted everybody to take their shoes off, like, before they came in, even the vendors. And, like, if you're in hair and makeup, taking your shoes off is, like, a no-no. And, like, obviously I want to respect everybody's, you know, thing. So I took my shoes off. However, I was sick, didn't know what I had. I had taken a COVID test, so it came up negative. So I knew at least I didn't have COVID, because otherwise I definitely would have not gone, even with a mask. But we had to take our shoes off. So this floor is a wood floor. There's dead ladybugs everywhere.
Oh my gosh, I know what venue you were at.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
Yes. I love this venue. Like, I love this place. I love ladybugs, but this was like just all around terrible day for me, at least. So again, unseen, no trial. Got done. Everybody was doing hair and makeup that day. Got done everybody, and then was time for the bride's makeup and hair. And I always feel bad talking about this one because it's not necessarily that she was like a bridezilla or anything. She was just so self-conscious about herself, and it makes me so sad that like she didn't think anything looked good on her.
Oh gosh.
And she even said that.
It's so frustrating. There's so many women like that.
Yes.
I blame social media and society, but that's a whole nother podcast.
Yes. Yeah, we'll talk about that one day. And she even said that. She's like, anything I say is not you. It's all me. And I was like, okay, like, just let me know, like, whatever you need
make
to.
our job easy.
It doesn't, no. And she's like, if anything's, like, not going to look good, you know, and I was like, I'll tell you. Like, I'll be honest with you. I'm always honest. So she picks out a hairstyle. I thought it looked amazing. Not because I did it, but, like, just because it fit her face, like, it fit her, it fit what she was wearing, like, everything. The bridesmaids loved it, the moms loved it. So she was like, okay, like, she just, like, left it after a few tweaks. And then I went to her, do her makeup. Like, she picked out a picture, thought it would look great, like, catered it to her style, like, her face shape. Everybody loved it, and she absolutely hated everything about it, which is fine. Like, can't win them all.
This is why you should do trials.
Yes.
Especially if you're somebody that knows that you are not confident
Yes.
in your looks.
Yes. If you're...
Pay attention, people. This
Yes.
is the importance of a trial.
Yes, importance of a trial. Also, I just want to, like, everybody to be, like, happy about themselves. But that's so sad. Anyway... she hated everything about it, everything about her look, and then she even hated her dress afterwards. There was another makeup artist there, and I was like, you know, if you'd rather her do it, like, that's totally fine. And the other makeup artist was like, yeah, like, if you want me to, like, do it. She was like, no, it's not you guys, like, it's all me. And I was... I'm like about ready to throw up, like hacking up, like holding in my coughs, like under my mask, like everything is oozing out of my face. Yeah, I can't breathe. My head was pounding. It was absolutely terrible. Naked feet, like dead ladybugs everywhere.
Naked feet is the worst too, as a from a hairstylist point of view, because I have been at multiple weddings. Obviously, we work in old venues. We work in big, beautiful homes.
I didn't have socks
IOP.
on. I forgot to say that.
Okay, all of that, like, so you know this. Even with socks, we are spraying hairspray.
Yes.
All day long. And when we all know I'm a flip-flop person. Like, I stay in flip-flops and sandals. My feet are claustrophobic. I don't want to be in a shoe. So when I get asked to take a shoe off, I'm usually in bare feet as well. I will leave these weddings with other people's hairspray to the bottom of my foot,
just
because
like stuck.
We're standing in the same place. It's just, first of all, it's disgusting for me. Second of all, I don't feel like, unless it's torrentially downpouring and you have white carpets, like, I don't feel like any vendor should ever be asked to take their shoe off.
It's just
I really don't. And if it's like that serious of a situation, have booties, mm-hmm. Put a sheet down. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I don't know.
I get it.
Sheer volume of hairspray that ends up on the bottom of our feet, because yes, it's going in your hair, but it's also falling on the floor behind the chair where we're walking in.
It's against
gross.
state board.
It is. It's 100% against state board. Also. This has nothing to do with that, but if we're doing hair and makeup for y'all, please don't ask me to go stand in a bathroom.
Yes.
I don't want to be put in a bathroom when I'm doing hair. If you were going to work at your office and they told you that they moved your cubicle to the bathroom, like, how would you feel about that? Like,
yeah. And it's
not sanitary.
Yeah.
And then also, like, think about the people that might need to use that bathroom. Like, it's not a good look. So when finding a getting ready space, I totally went on a tangent here and off topic, but when finding a getting ready space, don't rely on somewhere where the setup for hair and makeup would be in a bathroom.
Yes. Literally anywhere else but a bathroom.
Yes. I've worked in a hallway of one of these huge houses before. Wasn't my first preference. I wasn't a fan of it, but I would rather that than a bathroom.
Yeah.
Also, counter space is whack. We have kits, like, that we need to set an entire case up on something. So when you're like, oh, you can set up on the sink. Well, lady, there's a huge hole in the middle of that sink that is not flat surface. So I digressed. I'll let Holly get back to her story. But let's not do setting up in the bathroom, guys.
Yeah. No bathrooms. Unsanitary. Also, taking shoes off. I know, like, certain cultures and, like, you want to respect certain things. But if you do want shoes off, either one, give the vendors a heads up so they're prepared and like can bring booties, or like if you have booties available, that's great. But yeah, definitely was not prepared that day.
Or get the pedicure. They could get the pedicure slippers that
Yes,
they give you. Like
yeah.
something. Don't ask us to be barefoot.
Yeah, because hair splinters too, especially for hair.
Oh, that's a real thing.
Yeah, hair splinters are absolutely terrible.
They are.
They feel like the worst splinter you've ever had.
I feel like that's more with cutting, but yes.
Yeah.
Men's haircuts.
Well,
That's why I don't do
sometimes
men's haircuts. The little prickly pieces. Oh.
Yeah.
Kudos to all the hairstylists out there doing men's haircuts because my husband has to like literally beg for 3 weeks to get a haircut before I'll actually do it.
That's me. Yeah, same. Brian,
and that's my husband, who I love dearly. Like,
same.
He's not getting every 2-3 week haircuts. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. So since we do it at like in our house, obviously, I warned Brian. I was like, you need to wear shoes when I'm cutting your hair because you're going to get a hair splinter if you don't. And he did not believe me. And he wore like, you know, Crocs with like the holes in it. And he got a hair splinter. He was like, oh my God, that's the worst thing.
It is. Well, because a lot of times you can't even find it. I was working at a salon in Maryland, same thing, always wearing flip-flops. And I knew that something was hurting me in my foot, obviously. And my coworker, I guarantee you she still remembers it because it was disgusting. She finally like found it with tweezers. She pulled out a piece of like that had just like wedged itself.
Oh my
Nobody
God.
can see what I'm showing, Holly, because
It's
this
like
is a
a
podcast.
6-inch,
It's like a 6-inch piece of hair that she like pulled out of my foot that had just slowly worked its way in. Because when you're cutting this hair, it's sharp. Our shears are sharp.
Yeah.
So these shears are cutting an extremely sharp piece of hair. And like, yeah, it's really bad. Nobody wants a hair splinter. So
No.
highly recommend shoes at all times if there's
Yeah.
any hair on the floor.
Yeah. Or pet hair. Pet hair can do it too.
I mean, that's good too. I've never really thought about that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty crazy. Even when my house gets like the messiest, I'm pretty good about like vacuuming because I can't stand like the hairballs floating around. With 3 pets.
Yeah.
And Tigger, Tigger's my fluffy orange cat, and he sheds hair like, I don't know. He's worse than dogs, I think.
That's it, like our Shumba, or fake Roomba. I literally
Thank God for Knuckles.
Yes. Her name's Rosie, like from the Jetsons. I literally run her every day because at least like instead of like big vacuuming every day, like she just gets all the like the little furs up.
We called our Sharky because he was a shark
Sharky.
back, but he was like a Roomba. And we no longer use it. Because Aiko was tired of yelling at me because our shark would break like every week. And every week I would have to be like, Aiko, can you fix the shark? And one day he came in from the garage with like a pile of like 20 bobby pins. He was like, this is what keeps breaking. He's like, I didn't say anything the first time, Tracy. He was like, you have too many bobby pins all over the place. Which they fall out of my hair bag, honestly. And
They're just literally
they're just
everywhere.
like, they're pains in the butt. Yeah, bobby pins, you can find them all over my house.
Same.
But my Sharky definitely found them all over the house. And we no longer use the shark.
Rest in peace, Sharky.
My husband was like, I'm not fixing it anymore. It's pointless. You leave these bobby pins everywhere.
Rip.
I'm like, well, I don't leave them. Like, it's not like I'm like walking through the house, like throwing a trail of breadcrumbs with my bobby pins. That's an accident.
Right.
I feel like leaving them everywhere is a little dramatic of a statement here.
Instead of flower petals, you're just like throwing bobby pins.
Yes. I now use a Makita vacuum.
Oh.
My husband uses the Makita tool, and one of the sets he got came with like this vacuum that he was like, oh, so excited about for his garage. Well, I borrowed it one day and it's never been returned to the garage ever since. And now my mom actually has one. We're not getting paid by Makita, by the way, but if anybody's in the market for a vacuum, I love my little Makita. It's lightweight, it's cordless. I think it works better than our Dyson that we had, and yeah.
Dang. That's what we had.
Can Dyson sue me for saying that?
I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think we're big enough for that.
Anyway, Makita is where it's at. Was that
Dyson listening to this? Like, oh yeah, we can sue you.
Hopefully they don't. I'm poor. Please don't sue me, Dyson.
You won't get mine.
You won't get. Yeah. It would be sad.
Our big vacuum's a Dyson too, and I don't love it. Anyway, weddings.
Shoes. We were talking about shoes.
Oh yeah. So obviously, like, we want to respect your home wherever you're having us, your cultural, things. Beliefs. Thank you. So, but just give us a heads up that that's what we'll need, so we can have the proper things to respect it. Because you don't want us barefoot, no socks, stepping in hairspray all over your floor.
Well, yeah, and also, like, at the time, like, did she know that you had tested not positive for COVID? Like, I feel like
I didn't say anything.
right?
So I didn't say I was sick.
Oh, well, yeah. See,
Luckily, under the
most
mask,
guys don't
you
even
can't
care
see.
when you are sick. They don't. They're
No.
like, well, I'm fine with it if you are. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
sure. I guess
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to be, right?
Luckily, mask time. Like, otherwise, like, you would know. And again, I would not do this again, and I wouldn't have done it any other day. It's just, that's a whole nother story, but, like, the company I worked for at the time, there was no escaping.
Oh, God. We did escape.
We did. Yeah.
We escaped. Oh, God. I,
11/11.
make a wish. I wish that Dyson won't sue me. Where was I going with that? I was about to say something. Oh, geez. What did we just talk about?
Feet.
No, it was after that, though.
Dyson
the masks.
suing. Oh, yeah,
the
masks.
I don't know if this is what I was going to say, but the one thing, I hated masks. I'm always hot as it is. And you've got these brides running around in like little minimal pajamas. And then they're all like, oh, it's cold. I'm like, well, put on some clothes. I mean, I get it. I get you want cute pictures. I do. But like, you have vendors here working.
I spit out my tea.
I mean, seriously though, seriously. I have at least at any given time 3 hot tools. At least.
Yeah.
Sometimes more than that. 3 hot tools that are all running at 450 degrees. Okay? I'm working. And when you're cold because you're sitting in booty shorts and a bralette and you have the heat on when it's 72 degrees outside in Charleston and you're running the heat at 78 because you are cold and I know they don't think about it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like
It's not
I'm
on
just going to be
purpose.
an asshole thing. Like, I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
But
Most of it's not on purpose.
yeah, more of my brides have been getting pajamas where like the pajama sets come with shorts and pants, which I think is really like an awesome thing.
Yeah.
Also, ladies, please bring a sweater. Please bring a sweater. We are already standing on our feet, probably not eating. I can tell you, like, working weddings, I don't know how you are. I don't eat in the morning before a wedding because, well, not to be TMI, nobody wants to have like a bathroom experience while you're trying to work. You're in a hotel room with 8 women and 1 bathroom. And you're like, oh, well, that bagel isn't sitting right. Nobody wants that. That's just awkward and uncomfortable.
Wait, okay, so not wedding related, but when I was in a hair salon cutting hair, I had a new client in a chair and I was doing their consultation and like had just put the cape over them, like draped over the cape and was like, oh my God, I have to shit right now. Like, ain't no like, like, sorry, TMI, if you're not into this, you probably should have listened to this podcast, but draped over the cape, like started like cutting and I was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I cut my finger. I did not cut my finger. I just had like literally would have shit my pants if I did not leave right then. And like it took forever. Took a good like solid like 10-12 minutes. I had my friend like at the salon. She was like, are you okay? And I'm like, can you just like go tell them that it's really bad? Like, I cut myself really bad.
She's bleeding out.
And then I got back, never saw that client again.
Well, and like you said, with the 10 minutes, that's where I was getting ready to go with it. That also, like, that leads to timing, which is another thing. It's not just that I don't want to have to go to the bathroom, like, in front of people, even though I do have performance anxiety. Yeah. But it's timing, you know? Like, a 10-minute bathroom escapade, and if that happens twice, if you ate something you shouldn't have, you're now 20 minutes behind, you know? And so I don't usually eat in the morning. So you've got hair and makeup artists that have not eaten. We probably got up at 5 or 6 a.m. because we have to have our own hair and makeup done so that we look presentable in your pictures that we might end up in for your getting ready shots. Yeah. We're hungry.
We're hungry.
We are standing in the same spot, not moving. And I'm not doing this to like complain about my job. I love my job. Yeah. I really do. I feel privileged to work with people on such a special day. But I think everybody's like, oh, this is such a fun job. You play with hair all day. I'm going to give you the harsh reality. Yeah.
It's not all fun and games.
Really, it's a lot. It's mentally tolling. Yeah. And physically tolling. Mm-hmm. I know, like, with the mental toll, you have 10 bridesmaids sit down in your chair. And I've joked with my husband, honestly, several times. I'm like, I'm just going to get a whiteboard and write, hi. My name is Tracy. We're literally having the same conversation sometimes with these people over and over. It's like Groundhog Day.
Yes, I'm married.
In our chair.
No, I don't have kids.
It's okay. Like, I understand they didn't hear me talking to the last bridesmaid. And I think it's great that people are being social because I also don't want to stand there in silence the whole time. Right. But it's not even just the physical exhaustion of standing in one spot and not moving with my hands and above my head for 90% of that time.
Yeah.
And now
Social
brides
exhaustion.
being on their cell phones, so like their heads bent over, so then my back, I look like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. It's a lot, and I think people have like glamorized this, but honestly, the whole gist of this is let's not put the air on 78, guys. Like,
Yeah.
we're hot. Bring a
Or
sweater.
put us in a different room.
Yes.
Like, if
Yes.
you
put
can.
us in a different room where we can like make the air cooler a little bit, or
Open a window.
Yeah.
Or close a window.
Yeah.
if we need
because
to.
90% of the time, and I know I'm somebody that's always hot, and I know there are girls on the team that are always cool, but for the most part, when it gets to the point where like I'm like, okay, it is hot in here, there's multiple other stylists that are like, yeah, it's like really,
Yeah,
it's warm.
and there's only so much you can do when it's hot.
Yeah.
Like cold, you can put something on.
Yes,
Hot, you
exactly.
can't
That's
take
what I'm
that much
saying.
off,
Telling
yeah.
these little skinny minis to put them some sweaters on when they're running around here in their bralettes, and I'm like, lady, I can't take off my clothes. Nobody wants to see that, and I gotta keep working. So I don't know how we got here, but that's if we could keep the AC.
Taking off shoes.
Taking off shoes.
Booties.
Oh yeah.
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 Let us be prepared.
Oh, it was the mask. It was the mask.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
always
yes,
hot.
Yes.
Yes. So the mask, I hated that part of it. But I can tell you, if anybody knows me, I definitely have RBF. And like the whole, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything. Like my mama definitely taught me that. But my face hasn't learned those guidelines.
I feel
like,
that same.
I have been told numerous times, like, my face needs deliverance. Because I won't say that I think you're stupid, but I will definitely, without realizing it, I'll be looking at you like you're stupid. And so the greatest thing about the mask, that was the one thing that I loved. I would get photos back from the photographer and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so great. You can't see my face.
Yes.
You can just see my twinkling eyes.
Yes. Look how
I get
happy I
photos
am.
back from photographers all the time, and they're like, I thought you'd want these. And I'm looking at these photos. I'm like, why would I want these?
Yeah, nope. Don't want these.
Not in a mean way, but they're at an angle where obviously the bride's flattering, so she's sitting down. I'm standing above her. I'm looking down. I got like 6 chins. I'm usually making a terrible face, like I hate my job, when I actually really don't.
Yeah.
But I definitely look like I hate my life in a lot of these
Focus.
photos.
So one, I also have an RBF. Oh, she's whimpering.
Better than barking, what
and-
Ram was doing.
Then my focus face is even worse. So like
Yes.
I'm focusing on what I'm doing. I have an RBF
Yes.
and I just look absolutely
You're in
miserable
the zone
and annoyed.
phase?
And
yes,
in the
like I
zone.
hate my job. Yeah, Tim Allen. I mean, he had like his tongue sticking out. At least it was like funny. Mine is, yeah, I just look angry.
Yeah.
I just look like I really hate my job. Like I want to murder the brides, and that's not the case. But
Yeah.
the masks, that was the only thing about the mask that I did truly like, was that
Yeah,
you
covering the
couldn't
face.
see my RBF.
Yes, absolutely. And like, yes. And I'm like such an introvert most of the time. I felt like it was an excuse to not have to talk as much.
Yes, that is true. Also, getting ready time. I didn't have to do a full face of makeup. I literally was
Yes.
putting makeup
It's like a little
from
mascara, a
like
little concealer.
the top of my nose up, a little bronzer on my forehead.
Yep. Yeah.
That got my get ready time. Not that let's not bring back the mask, people, but that was a pro.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if you want to wear a mask, that's cool.
Yeah, I don't want to have to though.
Yeah.
Especially on your wedding day. No offense.
Let's keep it healthy. Let's keep it healthy.
All right, so I don't want to like take you away. Was that like?
Oh no, but it did bring up that was it. Bride, like she went with it. She went with it. I thought she looked amazing, and everybody else
And
thought
I'm
she
sure
looked
she
amazing.
did too once she got her photos back.
Yeah.
It's just, that's sad that it happened like on her.
Sometimes I
wedding
think I'm
day.
like, are you being abused? Like, do you need help? Like, I know I always feel like, obviously, you don't want to overstep and like not trying to get too much into like triggering things, but like sometimes my mind goes there. It's like,
Not even necessarily abuse, but like I wonder like what the home life was like. Like, did you have a
Exactly.
mom that was like, oh, you shouldn't wear that? Or,
Yeah.
oh, like,
yes.
and I'm not saying this, but I don't even know this bride. I never
No.
met her. But I also, it makes me sad. I mean, I have low self-esteem though, so like,
Yeah,
I
same.
kind of get that. Like Anna, who's actually,
I don't know, but when you did my hair that day, I was like, oh yeah, I look good.
I loved your hair that day. Your makeup. Well, you did your own makeup, and you looked amazing.
Thank you.
Anna, actually, who was supposed to be here with us today, she's sick, so she will be joining us on another podcast. She did my makeup for my wedding.
Amazing.
And it did. It looked beautiful. But I'm so self-conscious that, like, the next day she did, like, a beautiful, like, shout-out wedding post with a picture of my makeup, and all I could think was, oh my God, I'm so fat. Like,
no.
I can't believe I went to my wedding this fat. Like, what was I going to do? Take it off? Like, I don't know why I feel like I went to my wedding. But I think we're just all, like, really...
in our heads.
Yeah, and I do.
Yeah.
I know I said it earlier. I think it goes back to, like, social media. I mean, the amount of men that I'm like, oh, I hate when women wear makeup. And then, like, you look at their For You page on their Instagram of things they follow, and it's, like, Kim Kardashian and these models who have had 6 Brazilian butt lifts done. And I'm like, do you, though? Do you like natural? Because none of this is natural. And this is why we, as women, feel... And I put on makeup to make myself feel pretty. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wearing makeup.
Nope.
Like, I like wearing makeup. But I think it's sad that now I'm to a point where I don't want to be in photos if I don't have makeup on.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did we get to that extent? Like, there's nothing wrong with putting makeup on, but when you feel like you
can't
are
step outside without
a dog and disgusting without it, that's where it's sad. And I feel like in our industry that happens a lot, because I feel like we're made to feel like you have to look this way. And
100%.
I also don't feel like how I do hair should be judged based on if my hair is styled that day or not. Like, if I want to wear a ponytail, right? If I want to wear a ponytail, like, you know how many weddings I go to where I spend 30 minutes curling my hair or straightening my hair, and I'm like, today's going to be the day, guys. Today's going to be the day. Within 5 minutes of being at that wedding, because I get hot because of the brides. Remember those brides I was talking about in bralettes and skinny minis and down to their skivvies, and they're hot, so they put heat on? Well, then, why did I waste my time doing my hair? Because within 5 minutes, my hair is piled up on my head in a top bun.
Yes.
And I don't know why I do this, but it is what it is. I am going to tell y'all a funny story. Well, I don't know if it's funny. I laugh about it. I'm sure it was not funny. Well, if the bride even remembers it. Okay. So this was one of the very first, I really think it was like maybe my second wedding. One of my very first or second weddings that I did when I broke into the wedding hair scene in Charleston. Which, let me preface this. When I worked in full service salons, like, they don't teach you updos in school in Maryland. I don't know.
Same with Jersey.
Yeah. So like, I taught myself how to cornrow when I was in high school. I taught myself how to do like the twist and stuff, but I was never like a updo person. In fact, like, give me color corrections all day long. When I worked at a full service salon, when prom season came around, I was like hiding in the back. Like, do not put these girls on my book. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I dreaded it. And so when one of the friends at the blow dry bar we were talking about last episode asked me why I wasn't doing updos, like wedding hair, I was like, well, girl, because I'm not great at it. And she had seen me do an updo at this blow dry bar, and she was like, I thought that looked good. And I was like, were we looking at the same thing? This goes back to also being like judgmental on yourself.
Yeah.
I know we're all like really judgmental on ourselves. She got me into the industry. She was like, you gotta come do weddings. She was like, that's where the money is. So I tried it out. And you can definitely, like, if you scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram page, you can definitely see where it's like started from the bottom. Now we're here. But this was one of my second weddings, and it was a same thing. The bride hadn't done a trial. So I'm like, okay, cool, whatever. I get to this getting ready area, and it was like I don't want to call it a trailer. Like, I mean, it was pretty, but it was like a manufactured space on the property of where this venue was.
Gotcha. I feel like I might know what property you're talking about.
Probably. So I go in. Everybody's like, this was a very laid back wedding party. Not like a lot of the wedding parties I see now where it's like full glam makeup. This was very laid back. And so same thing. I did all the bridesmaids. I was just doing hair. I didn't do makeup. I don't know that there even was a makeup artist there that day. Like, when I'm saying these girls were very, like, laid back, I don't remember seeing a makeup artist that day. This was also, 8 years ago? So maybe there was a makeup artist, and I've just put it out of my mind. But definitely not anybody that I would have known, stayed in touch with, because I've never relived this story with any of the makeup artists who have been around when I've told this story, which it does get told, because people sit down in our chairs and they're like, oh my God, what's the best thing that's ever happened at a wedding?
Yeah.
And this is definitely
why
one
we
of
have
the
this
stories.
podcast.
Yes, exactly. So I go in, I'm excited. I'm like, this is new. I'm nervous, but excited, like whatever. I do the bridesmaids' hair. Everybody's happy. There were only like 5 bridesmaids, and there were more, but only 5 that were getting hair. Telling you, very basic group. So it's time to do the bride's hair, and The bride sits down in my chair. Now, I've never met this person, never seen, there were no inspo pics, like nothing.
Oh, no.
So I say to her, how are we doing your hair today?
Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. We had to pause. Holly's dog is the cutest dog I've ever seen. She's like sleeping, sitting up right now. She is just like, I don't even know. She's super sweet.
I'll post her on Instagram.
She's in her grandma stage over there with her blankets, just sleeping in the sun. So I ask her how she wants her hair. And she says, I don't care. And I'm like, okay, well, do you want it up? Do you want it down? Do you want it half up? Like anything? Like give me something. I love when somebody's like, do whatever, but like I still need context of like what you want.
Because there's been horror stories with that too.
Oh yeah. So I say to her, do you want it up? Do you want it down? And I get the same thing. I don't care. And I'm looking at this bride and I'm like, okay, is she like having a meltdown? Like what's happening? Because I can see that she's checked out at this point. So I'm like, I'll be right back. And I go out in the other room where the bridesmaids are. And I was like, y'all, I don't know if like she's about to have a meltdown, anxiety, like nerves on this. I'm like, I think something's wrong with her. Like she's literally telling me she does not care how I do her hair, like giving me nothing. And this bridesmaid, she looks at me and she goes, about that. And I'm like, about that? Like, what are you about to say to me? And she goes, so the bride was really, really stressed this morning. So I gave her a Xanax.
Oh my God.
She was like, however, I didn't know that one of the other girls had already given her a Xanax.
No.
I'm like, first of all, I lost a week of my life to Xanax. Like, I don't know. For people who have never taken Xanax, if you take a high dosage of Xanax, you literally, like, you aren't there.
Yeah.
You are functioning, but you remember none of it. Mm-hmm. Like, I really lost after a huge traumatic experience in my life, I was on Xanax for a little bit, and it was too high of a dosage. And it got to the point where, like, I couldn't remember things happening. I had highlighted somebody's hair, and I was actually texting her, mad at her. Like, when are you coming in for highlights? She was like, you literally did my hair last week.
Dang.
And I was like, no, I didn't. Like, I was arguing with her. I was like, you must have gone and seen somebody else. Like, you didn't come see me. And she told me, she was like, Tracy, look in your phone. You were laughing that I went to Panera with foils in my head. Like, we literally had dinner at Panera across the street while my hair was processing. And there were pictures of her in there with foils in her head that I had never. And then I'm like in panic. I'm like, does your hair look good? Like, right, yeah, I don't even remember doing this. So for those of you who have never had an experience with Xanax, when you take too much Xanax, I don't even know that this woman remembers her wedding day.
That's sad.
It is. And I can laugh about it now. Like, these bridesmaids legit drugged their friend on her wedding day. I mean, I know it wasn't intentional, but like, damn.
Yeah.
All that planning, all the money, all the time that goes into that. Like, if you and Anna like drugged me on my wedding day by accident, I would still be feeling like some type of way. But also to the bride, like, why would you take 2 pills? Like, was the first dosage of Xanax too strong and she wasn't even thinking about it? Or is she just like out there trusting her friends? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's like that party life mentality. Like, you get handed a pill, you just take it. I don't know. Like, that's a lot of time. Like, if I didn't remember my wedding after all the money and time that we put into it, I would still love you and Anna dearly, but I would be like really upset that y'all Xanaxed me out on my wedding day. Like,
I would never do that.
This is like, that's crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
And she she loved her hair. You know, I mean, I pretty much could have done anything, like tied a
God, I could swear I was there.
I don't think so.
This must have happened somewhere else too.
All right, we figured it out. We had to pause y'all because obviously we can't give like identifying information away to y'all because we will really get sued. Like, I was joking about that,
and we don't want to like ruin anybody's life.
But it was actually she reminded. We can talk about that wedding though. We can talk about that next if you want, because that woman was, oh my. Okay. Anyway, it was a different wedding. So apparently drugs happen at a lot of weddings. I don't know. But that was, I laugh about it now. It was, I really hope that girl remembers her wedding day. She was super sweet. Like, I felt badly for her, and I gave her a beautiful updo that everybody loved. So hopefully she loved it when she was sober the next day, or hopefully she was sober by her wedding night. I don't know.
Dang.
It was
so.
the most laid back bride I've ever had in my life.
She's like, this was the best wedding ever.
This
was great.
She was super laid back. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people, when they sit in my chair, like they want the tea, which is like what you said. This is kind of like why we started this. I know it happens at every wedding. Every wedding. At least somebody's like, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened? Or the most common is like, how many bridezillas have you had? You know, and even not on wedding day, when I tell people what I do, they're like, oh my gosh, you must have dealt with so many bridezillas. And I say all the time, I'm like, honestly,
like, no.
I mean, there are some stories I could tell you, but considering I do wedding hair almost every weekend, and sometimes 3 or 4 weddings a weekend during peak season, to say I've only had a handful of bridezillas, that says a lot. And I've been doing this for years. Yeah. Honestly,
we're gonna knock on wood.
Yeah, knock on wood. Honestly, I don't know if you would agree. I feel like most people do agree when it's said or brought up. I feel like if there's a problem, it's usually one of the mothers.
Yes, 100%.
And I'm not just saying that because of what we're about, like what we just talked about.
Yeah, I can think of like
that's really my answer.
At least 15 times where it's
terrible
been
moms.
Either mother
of the grooms.
Mother of the grooms. Yeah,
mother of the grooms. Y'all, I know.
She's like, it's my wedding
I know
too.
that the bond between. Were you there for that wedding?
Maybe. I've had like 3 mother of the grooms be like, it's my wedding too.
I had one like literally cussed out a photographer. This woman was terrible. I will tell you that story. I will tell you. I will tell everybody on this podcast that story. I have to be careful not to give identifying factors out for the venue location. This woman was crazy. But mothers of the grooms, like, I know that the bond between a mother and son can be very different. Like, I know that. Like, they're your little boy. Like, I got you. Y'all, he is not leaving the country. Well, I guess in some cases he might be if he met somebody, but 9 out of 10 times, he's still your son. You're still going to see him. Yeah. Some of y'all, mothers of the grooms out here, get a little crazy with it. Like, oh my God, she's taking my baby. Yeah. And I don't know. The mother of the groom. I've had a lot of wonderful ones. But if there's an issue, I would say it's mothers, and I could even narrow that down to 50% of the time. Or that one bridesmaid that like you can't even figure out why they're in the wedding. I'm like, you like clearly kind of hate this woman. Like, why did you agree to be her bride? Yeah. I had a drunk sister of the bride. Like, the things she was telling me, we could talk about that too.
I have
what do we want to talk about next?
I have a drunk mother that I could absolutely talk about.
Well then let's talk. Let's go from Xanax to alcohol.
All right. So first, I want to preface this as this mother had 3 trials, which, you know, we
don't get me started, Holly.
So obviously we want people to get trials that want trials. It's kind of, I don't know. I don't even know. It is what it is. Like, she had 3 trials and I thought it was ridiculous. And like the requests she was making were like just wild. Wanted her face whiter than what it actually was, which, hey, like, I'm going to do what you want to do. Don't tell anyone I did it.
Oh God. Yeah. That's my favorite
You know what I
thing.
mean? Like, I don't tell anyone this was my work, but.
Or when they're like, are you going to post this on your Instagram? And you're like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Nope. Oh, I didn't get good pictures. Wanted like her face lighter than what it was, and like, I mean, she was pretty tan, and wanted, I don't even know how to explain it, like, and this, like, I don't know, she had so much work
like
done.
A geisha?
Like, kind of. Like, I don't really, like, it was hard to know what she even wanted because she didn't know what she wanted, and that happens a lot. That happens a lot where people don't know what they want, and that's fine, and we can help you figure it out, but you got to make a decision. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, we can only help you so far. So anyway, it's 3rd trial, she comes in, and she's like, I just want my face lighter than what you had it before. And I'm like, okay. And I was real blunt.
So
I
wear
was like,
a hat in the sun, lady.
Yeah. I was real blunt. I was like, so you don't want your body to match your face? And she kind of looked at me, and I was like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, I really need to know what you mean. And she's like, I mean, I just want my face lighter. And I'm like, okay, if I make your face lighter, your body won't match your face. Is that okay? And she was like, I mean, I don't know, like, are you, like, you're the professional. And I'm like, I'm, again, not trying to be mean, but like, what we did last time, I think is perfect for you. Right. And she's like, okay, we'll just do it like with lighter, whatever. Okay, so we did it. And she's like, I love this. This is great. This is exactly what I wanted. It wasn't. It wasn't. So day of the wedding, she was extremely drunk. And I felt so bad because the bride and like all her people were like so nice. Like the nicest people.
And this was the mother of the bride.
The mother of the bride,
Okay.
yes. And the mother was last because the bride was like, just let her go last because of what was going on. And everybody else was like getting on the bus, like getting dressed, like everything. And mother's just drunk out of her mind in my chair. And I literally did like what we did at the trial. And she's like, I don't like this. And the bride's like, Mom, like you've had 3 trials. This is it. You look great. This is what you wanted. Like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. She wasn't having it.
And she was just falling out of the chair, and it was bad.
I also don't see the need to get that inebriated on your child's wedding day.
No, I think this was an ongoing issue, sadly. Like, they knew that she had issues with alcohol.
I feel like brides are pretty good about warning us, too.
Yeah.
The amount of times where I've had brides be like, I'm going to tell you my mom can be difficult, or I'm going to tell you the groom's mom. And sometimes I get their day of and I'm like, what is she talking about? Like, these people were fine. But a lot of times, like, hits the nail on the head.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
I had a drunk bride. This was sister of the bride. And this was at one of the premier venues downtown, the most expensive venues here in Charleston. And you could tell that this wedding, there was a lot spent on this wedding. Well, I don't know what this bride did to her sister, but her sister, you could clearly tell that they were not close.
Oh, no.
And her sister got really drunk and sat in my chair and was airing all her sister's dirty business.
What?
I mean, she told me how much the wedding cost. She was like, I can't even believe it. My sister walks around here acting like an asshole, treating people like crap all the time. She's so ungrateful. My parents spent upwards of $250,000 on this day.
Oh my God.
And I don't even understand it. Like, she's not a nice person. And I really don't have anything to like say about it. Like, I don't know if something happened. This venue that I'm speaking of, this is a huge venue, so they're not in the room with us. There's multiple rooms on this upstairs, like ballrooms, like big rooms, that like anything could have happened on this property that I don't know of that like triggered this sister. But I like, sometimes I'm really like, how are you in the wedding party? Or a bridesmaid. You know how many bridesmaids are sitting here talking crap about the bride while they're in my chair? And the bride's in the other room. And I'm like, y'all are supposed to be her people. But this is also why when I have wedding parties and they've got 15 bridesmaids, I'm like, man, I don't even have that many people I like on.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't have a lineup like that. Yeah. And I also, unfortunately, have learned throughout life, like, that friendships that have been had for years can end very quickly and for no good reason. And that's another thing. I'm like, I don't want pictures hanging up in my house. Like, to me, I wanted a small wedding party because I see what goes on behind the scenes. Not just
Makes
like
sense.
There were definitely more girls that I would have liked to have in my wedding party that they weren't in my wedding party, not because of I didn't want them in photos. Like, let me preface this here. Like, that's not why they weren't in my wedding party. I just also watch what goes on with these huge wedding parties. And honestly, my bachelorette weekend was a little trying with so many personalities. And I think that happens on wedding mornings too. Obviously it's more money for us when it's a big wedding party, but
Right.
sometimes these wedding parties, I'm like, y'all brides better be careful who you're picking to be standing by your side, because the amount of times bridesmaids are in my chair spilling tea.
And you, like, when it's a nice bride, you want to tell them, but you
Yeah,
can't.
and you can't. Nope. There's been lots of times I've never in my life until recently wanted to say anything to a groom. But this wedding that I'm talking about, when I got done that wedding, the groom and the groom's father were standing at the bottom of the stairs. It took everything I had not to look at that groom and be like, run.
Dang.
Run for the hills. I cannot tell that story because that's for a later date. It was too recent, and I really don't want.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I know the bride will know, who, if she's listening to this podcast, she will know.
Yeah.
But I was I've never been disappointed in a bride. I feel like a parent.
Yeah.
I was disappointed in this bride,
Aw.
to say the least. And she didn't do anything to me. She loved her hair. She hugged me when I left, told me that I do the greatest hair ever. But she made some comments that I can't even talk about it. Like, it makes me
Yeah.
sick to my stomach what this bride said about her groom's mother.
Craziness.
It was harsh. It was like,
That's probably like,
oh God, it was really bad.
just because I know
The
what you're
story?
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the like,
most disgusting thing you've
yeah,
ever heard?
yeah.
Yeah. It was, I've
That's
never
wild.
walked away from a wedding wishing anything. Even the brides that, like, you know, were pain in the asses. Even the brides that were bridezillas. I've never walked away. I walked away from this wedding hoping that the girl would fall down the brick steps of the venue, bloody both her knees, and have to crawl to the altar with blood all over her dress. I mean, that is where I was at. And it takes a lot for me to say that. And if y'all
Yeah.
knew what I was talking about, which I know now you're probably dying to know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about,
You'd
it will come out.
100,000%
It will
agree.
come out on an episode. It will. It just can't be right now. And I know that it probably sounds like I'm being real evil with her falling down the steps on her wedding day.
Yeah.
But what can you do? You have
Yeah.
some crazy ones, I guess, sprinkled in there.
Yep.
Yeah, so people, when they drink, they talk. Brides, be careful with that and who you're asking to be your bridesmaids, because things I've heard from the bridesmaids,
Yeah.
the amount of bridesmaids that talk crap about the bride while she's sitting in the next room, it's like mind-blowing
Yeah.
to me.
And even the opposite, like the way the brides treat the bridesmaids
yeah,
sometimes,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
what?
Yep.
What?
Do you ever like look at wedding parties and you're like, how did she become the maid of honor with all the maid of honor duty? Like where the maid of honor is like absolutely useless, and then there's like that one bridesmaid that like nobody's
doing
even really
everything.
talking to. Like she's got the whole day on lock. She knows where everything is for the photographer.
She's like, we need to leave at
Yeah,
2:35.
Yeah, and she's like bubbly and happy and not in an annoying way.
Yeah.
Like she's really there because you can tell like she genuinely cares about
Yeah.
the bride, and the maid of honor is just like busy getting drunk, and I'm just like, girl, you should learn better role positions for your friends.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, and it's sad
I probably
too.
wouldn't have picked her as maid of honor. Like
Right.
I don't know.
Definitely shows true colors.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
100%.
Afterwards, I bet you many people are like, "Oh, I'll never talk to them again."
Yeah.
Which
I
goes
had-
back to what you're saying, like pictures and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
you don't want people.
Alcohol can bring out the worst. I had a wedding.
Oh yeah.
I don't, and I said alcohol can bring out the worst. I don't even know that this mom was drinking, but it was a mother of the bride, and the bride had like, she didn't come out and say it, but she made it pretty clear that their relationship was strained, to say the least. And the mother, she kept telling the mother to like come inside, like they had a planner for things, and the mom was like, I need to set up, and the bride was like, you're choosing to, like, I'm asking you to be in here, you're choosing to, but then you're coming in and complaining that you're the only one doing anything. I have people to do this for us. Like, none of these people need to be doing anything.
Right.
Like, so the mother comes in, she's the last one to get her hair done in my chair, and she's complaining that she was the only one doing anything. But like, this was at also again another venue where like the venue, the woman who runs the venue, and I know you're gonna know who this is just from me saying it, she has hands on. She'll come in and yell at the hairstylist and makeup artist if they're not moving quick enough. Do you know who I'm talking about? Yes. So this is a venue that doesn't play around. Like, this bride's mom didn't have anything to worry about, and I know
Yeah.
if they were booked at this venue,
A famous couple got married here.
celebrities, yes, celebrities have got married at this venue. Like, this woman, she scared me the first couple times I've worked with the woman who runs this venue, but she's really nice. But if you
Yeah.
want somebody who is going to take charge and get the job done, if you want to do absolutely nothing on your wedding day, this is the place for you, because
Absolutely.
I don't think I could give somebody that much power. Like, I need to be in control of some things, but if you want to literally sit back and do nothing on your wedding day, this is the venue. So the fact that her mom was coming in and being like, I'm the only one doing stuff, I'm the only one setting up, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, you aren't even supposed to be setting up. Like, you're choosing to be outside, which is
Yeah.
fine. So anyway, she is losing her mind that she hasn't been thought of throughout the day. She's yelling at everybody. I asked her how she wanted her hair, and she was like, I guess just do whatever you have time for. And I was like, well, I'm not behind schedule. Like,
Yeah.
we can do whatever you want. Like, I don't know why you feel rushed right now, but I realized she was feeling rushed because they were getting ready to do pajama pictures with the bride and the bridesmaids, which
Oh.
I'm sorry, and it's cool that if you want your mom in them, most moms are not invited to the pajama pictures
Right.
with the bride, like 9 out of 10 times. And I think it's sweet when the moms are in there, but that's like a time for the brides to be with their bridesmaids. And I can tell that she's getting irritated that she's not part of these photos. And at one point, the photographer comes in to ask if she could take 2 of the pillows from the bed that was in the one room that we were in and take them over to the other room upstairs with the other bed. And this mom, like, loses her mind. She, like, jumps out of the chair and she was like, I can't even believe this. This is my day too. I should be in these pictures.
Oh my god.
Okay, look, I am also famous for when I get a moment with a mom by myself, like, and the bridesmaids are doing pajama photos, I'm literally, because I genuinely care, I'm talking to mom and I'm like, how are you doing? Like, are you okay? Like, I know this is a big day for you, you know, especially like if it's your only child or it's the last child getting married or the first one. I mean, it's a big thing. This is a milestone. So like, I want the moms to know that like, they're not forgotten. And I do. And I always say, I was like, I won't say it to the bride, but this is still your day. You helped her get to this point. You made her the person that this man fell in love with. Like, you did something right. You got her to the point of being somebody's soulmate. So I am also like very genuinely that person, like rooting for the moms. But to have a mom like freak out like that and start screaming that it's her day, like it's not okay. I feel like it's not right. Well, I get through doing her hair and the girl, like it was like, I couldn't get this done quick enough. Like I'm like, please just go. I just want to do touch-ups and I want to leave because you were a nut job. She went out on the porch. She was yelling at people off of the balcony. Like it was intense. Well then, wait for it. This is the kicker. So the mother of the groom, who I was just hating on groom's moms, this woman was an angel. The mother of the groom comes in and she was like, I know you've had a really long day. This was a big wedding. And obviously there was a lot of anxiousness going on and yelling. Not on my end, but, you know, it was just a lot. And she was like, do you have time for touch-ups? I was like, yeah, absolutely. I was getting ready to call everybody in, but then I figured I'd wait because I know the girls are out doing photos. And she was like, okay, well, can I sit here with you? I was like, you can sit in the chair. I'll do your touch-ups. And she was like, I really despise that woman. She was like, I know I shouldn't say this. And I'm just like, like, you never really want to, like, engage. You know what I mean? You don't know who's listening. You don't know who's standing there. You don't know if there's a videographer recording. Like, you're just like, you know. And she was like, I just don't understand how that sweet, sweet, sweet angel came out of the spawn of Satan. Oh my God. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm like, like, what do you say? You know, like you said, you don't know if you're being recorded. Like the amount of times I've left weddings where like it's normal for us to want to vent about a wedding, even if it's a really great wedding. Like even if everything runs smoothly, the bride is nice, we're going to find something to complain about because we're tired, we're high, we're hungry, like we're, you know, but even leaving venues, I'm constantly, even Ring cameras, like I'm like, okay, can they pick up, like, let's get in the car and call each other, girl, because I don't trust anything. Like, I don't want to be recorded, like, talking smack. Yep. So, I'm like, yeah, I was like, I don't know. And she was like, you know what grinds my gears the most? And
My gears.
I'm like, what? And she was like, my son and her daughter paid for this entire wedding. No. For her to be acting like this. She was like, not that it would be okay, even if she had paid for this, it still wouldn't, like, how she's acting isn't okay. She was like, but the fact that my son and my future daughter-in-law are the ones who, like, did all of this, and she's still acting like this, she was like, I also contributed a big chunk of change to this wedding that the bride has no idea, because the son, she was too proud. She didn't want the help. So, like, my son, I gave it to my son, and so this mother of the groom was taking no credit with the bride. The bride had no idea that the mother of the groom had helped so much with the wedding.
She's like, I just need to let somebody know.
I know, but it made my heart happy because I'm like, okay, you know what? This is where I feel like God steps in and gives you like or the universe, not just God, like the universe steps in and is like, okay, this girl clearly has a crazy ass mom, so we're gonna give her a really awesome mother-in-law. Like, but yeah, girl, that mother-in-law was spilling the tea too,
and she probably didn't want any financial help from anybody because of her mom, so she didn't feel like her mom could do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
She was crazy. She was a nut job. And the poor photographer was just standing there staring at her. I'm like, say something back. I would say something back.
Dang. Have you seen like the Reddit threads about like wedding shaming and like all that? I was on it this morning and I came across this story. So this is not our story. Like, we got it from Reddit. You can probably find it in there. And yeah. So this one is, my best friend unasked me to be her chief bridesmaid because I ended up in a wheelchair after an accident.
Gasps.
Her mom didn't want an overweight cripple to ruin her photographs. Oh my God. I'm assuming that's a quote unquote.
Oh my God.
This person says that really affected their body image, which absolutely, that would have affected mine as well. I decided not to attend as a guest on the on the day despite being asked to come because I was heartbroken. I found out on the day her hair and makeup were ruined because she insisted on going to the gym before she got married and the makeup melted and hair wilted. Karma. Long story short, I learned to walk again, got out of the wheelchair, and I'm happy now. They are no longer friends.
I wonder if she's still married. Do you ever have brides where you're like, how long is this gonna last?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, especially when they're sitting there complaining about, like, who they're marrying. Like,
I worked at, it was a tuxedo rental company when I was like, God, this was years ago. I was living in Maryland. I was probably 18. And this groom came in, which it was very rare that a bride didn't come in with the groom to like pick out the tuxedos for the groomsmen. Like, let's be real. I love my husband. And I was like, you can do whatever, but I'm definitely coming with you because more so like, I know that he doesn't, it's not his thing, you know? So I didn't want him to just be like, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Like, if there was anything he really wanted, I would have more than happily like obliged to it. I mean, my husband wanted to walk down the aisle to the Emperor's March from Star Wars, and I allowed that. Now my DJ didn't play it very loudly; it was playing from a phone. But I mean, I'm on our pretty last podcast. Yeah, I'm a laid back bride. Like it would have not been. I didn't go with my husband and tell him no to things, but like to really make sure he was like paying attention to like what they were asking. But this groom came in, and he was there with all of his groomsmen, and he was like, I'm so excited. Like, my fiance said that I could come in and like pick out. And he really put time and thought into this. Like, he wasn't picking the cheap suits. He was picking the expensive ones. He had the color samples that she had sent with from like the sister bridesmaid company. So like that we would know exactly what shade it was, how it would match. And he was really just genuinely proud of himself for like picking out everything. And it was not even 4 hours after this man left that this bride came in with one of her bridesmaids. I was like, I want to know what he picked. And I was like, oh, he's like really excited to surprise you. Like, he's really proud of himself. And she was like, oh, no. Like, I told him he could pick, but I want to know what he picked. Oh. She was like, and I'm probably going to change stuff, and he just won't even remember. I was like, I think he probably will remember. Like, he was in here for like an hour, like asking me questions. Like, I think he's going to know.
That's like gaslighting.
Well, and also, like, are you coming with him when he picks it up so that he's not yelling at me that I did this wrong or put the information in wrong? So anyway, she like, when I'm saying petty, like, thinks she was changing petty, like, it was I don't know if he had the 3-button and she was like, no, it needs to be a 2-button, or maybe it was a 2-button. I don't remember, like, but like petty stuff like that. The colors all matched. She was like, he picked paisley for the vest. I don't want paisley. Do the stripes. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, just like really little petty stuff. And she left, and I said to my manager, I was like, they're not going to get married. And it was like a running joke. Like, people would leave, and I'd be like, I give it 8 months. I give it 2 years. And I looked at my manager, and I was like, they're not getting married. Like, this wedding's not going to happen. And they were like, don't say that. And I was like, no, I'm dead serious. Like, I don't think that this wedding's going to happen. And I kid you not, it was maybe a month before the wedding. The groom walked in with all of the same groomsmen. And I was like, hey, what are you here for? And he was like, we need to cancel the order.
Dang.
And I was like, oh, no. Like, are you going with somebody else? And one of the grooms was like, yeah, he's going with somebody else, not that bitch. And I was like, oh my God. He was like, we've been telling him to leave her for years. And I was like, oh my God. He was like, yeah, so we're out today just celebrating. We're going to go get drunk now. I was like, oh my God.
Dang.
I don't even know that he knows that she came in and changed everything.
I would have been like, well, it's funny you say that.
I was just getting more pleasure out of the fact that I like called it for once, like seriously, like that they were not going to get married.
I told you.
It's crazy. Some things, I know it's your wedding day. I know it's like important, but like, oh my God, some of these brides, I just want to be like, chill.
Right.
Like, are you even like realizing what today is at this point?
Yeah,
like you've become so wrapped up in the florals and the hair and makeup and the perfect place to take a picture and the content creation and this, that, and the other. Like, are you even realizing that you were lucky enough to like find your soulmate? Like, that this is what at the end of the day, whether it rains, whether there's a hurricane, whether there's a snowstorm, whether nobody shows up, like you're like, you found your person. Like that is what this day is supposed to be about. Yeah, all the bows and glitter, it's pretty, but like have a great wedding, have the wedding of your dreams, but do not lose sight of what,
like, why you're actually
your
doing
wedding
what you're doing.
Yeah, like I always tell my brides, make sure that you take 5 to 10 minutes with your groom, like right after the ceremony, because the rest of the night you're going to be dancing, you're going to be talking, people are going to be talking with you, but like really take that like 5 to 10 minutes to like appreciate the fact that you just intertwined your life with somebody.
Yeah. That's why I love first looks.
Yeah.
It's just like,
my sister did a first look. I didn't do a first look. I think first looks are good. For me, I am very much somebody that my favorite part of the wedding is when everybody's looking at the bride walking in. I enjoy looking at the groom and seeing the groom see the bride for that first moment. So, like, that's why I didn't do a first look. But, I mean, I think they both have their pros and cons. But I think the first look is good for that moment. Like, you're getting that moment with
who you marry.
This person that you're about to, like, claim eternity with. But, yeah. I have 2 little stories also, same thing, that are from the internet, just to
the interwebs.
Give a little chuckle. So the first one, a person wrote in that the best man starts off the speech with, "I've seen the groom with a lot of girls over the years." You know the cliche speech where it goes on to say, "But you're the best for him," etc., etc. Well, turns out the bride and groom were dating long before the best man ever became a friend. Essentially outed him as a degenerate cheater. She was super pissed.
That's terrible.
It's really, really terrible. There's another one. Geez, these best men. The best man giving the toast at the reception and saying the groom's first wife's name instead of the current one. I can't.
Oh,
y'all,
my God.
Y'all better get on it with these grooms. Better get on it with their best men.
Yeah.
Oh, this is good. Groom wanted cigarettes, so he snuck out and tried to drive to a convenience store a minute away. Drove straight into a telephone pole and was arrested for DUI and spent the night in jail. Always have a designated driver on your wedding night.
Yes.
Always. Whether
Terrible.
you're having one glass of champagne, always have somebody driving you. Not okay to drive drunk. And we can talk about this. I'm sure some of you listening know about this. This was like national news. I think it was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. Charleston, I always tell my bridal parties, especially downtown in any of the beaches, when you are out that night, pay attention. Pay attention, because nobody here is paying attention. Charleston is a hub for people driving drunk, and it makes me sick to say that. Like, it's absolutely sickening. I'm about to get really serious for a second. It was like a year and a half ago that a bride and her
Trigger warning.
Yeah, trigger warning. Bride and her groom, actually one of the companies I work for, one of the girls that I worked for, she did the makeup of this bride, and she was distraught. I mean, it affects all the vendors that were affected by this, people that had been working with her, like, full hand. This bride and groom left their wedding reception in a golf cart in Folly Beach, and a drunk, which I'm sorry, this girl has shown no remorse in my opinion. I don't believe in, people can think I'm cold-hearted and people make mistakes. Like, this is not a mistake. You got in a car drunk. This girl went into the back of their golf cart, and the bride was killed instantly on her wedding night.
Terrible.
It was really bad. And so that, I didn't read that story to lead to this, but it was a good lead in. Always have a designated driver. Drinking and driving is not okay. If you want to get trashed on your wedding night, by all means do it. Have a designated driver in place. If you are getting married here in Charleston, if you are a part of the bridal party, if you're doing an after, I know, like, my husband and I, we did an after reception, after party at the bar that we met at. If you're doing that with your group, if you're walking around downtown Charleston, whether you're driving or not, pay attention. Do not be so drunk in Charleston that you are not in control of what is going on around you, because there are drunk drivers here. People get hit on a regular basis. It's really sad and scary. So come to Charleston, get married, have fun. But always be paying attention to your surroundings, and don't be goofing off and just walking out. People also love to just walk into the streets in Charleston. I'm not sure. It's a college town, so drunk people just walk in the street. I don't drive downtown after 5 o'clock on the weekends because
it's terrible.
Tourists and college kids, they just walk out in traffic. So even if you're the one that's sober driving, it's a very alcohol party city.
Party city.
So just when you're coming here,
be aware.
Of what's going on. Be safe.
Don't be
drunk. Stupid. Don't drive drunk. Don't walk out into oncoming traffic drunk.
Yes. Please wait for the crosswalk.
Yes.
And look both ways and all the ways.
We've been running our mouths now for a while, so I think like we want to give just from like we're gonna have a guest on our next show. So these first two shows are like more stories of like Holly's and mine, but we also wanted to. This podcast is not just about hair and makeup. We want, like we've said before, we want everybody. We want vendors getting in on the action. We want photographers telling their stories. But we thought it would be cool to tell you some like lead up do's and don'ts for our industry for hair and makeup, and just touch upon some like misconceptions and some wives' tales and some unpopular opinions. These are our opinions also. Yeah. I know don't say, oh, well, I listened to Holly and Tracy's podcast and they told me to do this.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about some things. Like the biggest one that I can think of is I came with 2-day-old hair because I heard dirty hair is better for an updo.
Yeah.
First of all, everybody's hair is different.
Yep.
Everybody's hair is different. Like, I do know, I have really thick, coarse hair. So I do know that for, like, styling purposes, if I wanted to wear my hair down, I would come with 2 or 3-day-old hair because my hair is not even oily at that point. And I know that's what is going to, like, hold the best for me. The 2 or 3 days beforehand, with how humid it is here, that's a chance for me to, like, straighten my hair 2 times to get some of that humidity and frizz out before you curling iron. If you iron my hair and it's more than 70 degrees here, on fresh washed hair, it's just going to be a frizzy mess. Like, I don't care what you use.
That's why it's good to have a trial. Like, 100%. Like,
if
you can afford it and you have the time, like, get a trial. If you're getting your hair and makeup done, it's okay if you don't want to get your hair and makeup done too.
Right.
That's like the biggest thing.
Right.
A lot of the times, like, we run into issues with like people getting their hair and makeup done is when they actually don't want to get it done.
Correct.
Like, they would rather just do it themselves or not have it done, and that's okay. Like, it's your wedding. Like, do what you want.
Don't do it.
Don't feel pressured.
I feel like moms, especially moms with short hair, and I tell this to brides all the time. Like, I understand your mom wants to be part of the day, like getting ready. Like, have her come with her hairstyle, because when your mom has a haircut where her hair is less than 2 inches long and she has been styling it with her centimeter curling iron the whole last 40 years of her life the same way every day, what I do, she's not gonna like, because I don't know how she styles her hair every day.
Right.
And it's the same thing. Well, I just give it a little curl on top, but I'm like,
I zhuzh it up.
Okay, I don't know what that means. Like, I feel like
even if they show pictures, like, it's still not the way that they do it,
and it's not a mean way. Like, and it's only hurting us when I'm saying just don't have your mom get her hair done. That's one less service for me. So it's not, to me, it just saves the time, my effort, your mom's time, her effort. Like, I feel like if you have a mom who's done her hair the same way, don't pressure her into getting her hair done. And I feel like that's it. A lot of times it's not the mom saying I want my hair done, the mom saying, I don't know, she wanted me to get my hair done, what can you do with this? So I feel like if you don't want to get your hair done, if you're the person that doesn't want to really stick to your guns and let the person know that. Also, if you're the bride, like, don't pressure your mom into getting her hair done if she's not. Your mom's managed to live her life every day with her hair done. She can make it happen for your wedding, you know? Like, and then I have moms that come in and they want full glam, which is completely fine too. But I feel like a lot of moms are not prepared for this side of the industry.
Yeah.
I also have girls that, like, you know your hair. So if you know that your hair gets oily, even if you are sent a piece of contract or a piece of paper that says come with day-old hair, if you know that you get out of bed and the minute your hand touches your hair it becomes greasy, don't come with day-old hair.
Yeah,
because
please don't.
I've had girls sit down in my chair that, I'm sorry, it was actually disgusting. Like,
yes,
I thought their hair was wet because of how greasy it was. And they're like, I thought dirty hair was the best thing. And I'm like, I could use a whole bottle of dry shampoo on your head and it would do nothing at this point.
It would just look like a powdered grease ball.
Yeah. And I know one of the stylists I've worked with, she's actually had somebody wash their hair in the sink. But we don't have shampoo. Like, we're not a salon. We're, like, wash your hair. If you know your hair is oily.
Especially if you're more comfortable with it. Like, if you're used to washing your hair every day, you're more comfortable when your hair is washed. So wash your hair. We'll honestly, put stuff in it.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Products have come so far. It's not like we just have hairspray anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we have so many sprays. Like, we can dirty your hair up. We can't can't give you a full wash and blowout the day of. You know, like we can,
unless you book it.
Yeah, well, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. Well, even then, we still wouldn't really be washing your hair. You would have to do that in the shower.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the whole day old dirty hair. I feel like 9 out of 10 stylists that I know would be saying the same thing I'm saying of. Just wash it the morning of.
Yeah.
Unless you're somebody that has super curly frizzy hair. That was like super califragilistic. Super curly frizzy hair. And you know that on day 3, you've tamed some of that. Mm-hmm. Also, if you have really naturally textured hair and you want to embrace those curls, put your product in it. If you have product that you know that gets you to where you want to go, don't come in and say, I want to embrace my natural curl. But your hair is now like half wet, half dried, no product in it. Because at that point, if it's dried, I can use a really tiny curling iron to manipulate it to look like your real curl. But when it's like half dried, half not dried, like we're just in this like unhappy space, limbo, that doesn't work. So honestly, put your curling. I know a lot of the things that these companies send out say come with clean washed hair, no product. But if you know you want to embrace your curl,
just
put the
ask
product
your stylist.
in. Yeah.
Ask your
Ask
person.
your stylist.
Even if you don't get a trial, just ask like how
if you're a bridesmaid, ask the bride. The bride can reach out to these companies because if you're embracing your curl, more than likely you should be coming with product already in your hair.
Yeah.
That has had time to dry. You don't want it soaking wet. So these are things, talk to your bride about it. Have the bride reach out to whatever company they're using. If you're a bridesmaid, if you're the bride, do the trial. But even figure it out before the trial. Like if you know you have naturally curly hair, be in touch with your beauty team because the people I contract for, they reach out to me. Mm-hmm. I've had numerous bosses contact me and be like, hey, she's saying how do you want them to come? Mm-hmm. We don't mind telling you how to come. But disregard I really don't like those papers because everybody's hair is different. Mm-hmm. So disregard the come with clean, dry hair. Do what, you know your hair better than anybody. I don't know your hair. I've never met you in my life.
Right. Yeah. That's trials.
Do what you think is best for your hair. But do not come to a trial with wet hair unless you are getting a blowout.
Yes. Yeah.
Your hair should always be
different
dry.
For other companies to be like, make sure you know what the person wants, like what your stylist and makeup artist want before you go in.
Yes,
because
9 out of 10 times we're going to tell you dry hair. If you were booking glam waves through a company who specifically does glam wave and you want the volume, they probably are going to say come with wet hair, or they're going to spray you down a little bit so that they can use a blow dryer to really get you that volume. I know I recommend a lot of times to my brides, especially with the humidity here. If I have girls who want a smoother style but their hair is naturally curly, I always recommend a blowout the day before and just not washing your hair, because then you can prep your hair. The blowout's going to prep it with mousse to give it extra staying powder. Color Wow has a really awesome product called Dream Coat, which I highly recommend.
I'm the
down
only one
here.
that hates that product.
Do you?
I hate it.
Have you tried the Dream Coat? It's like on steroids. What's it called? Dream Coat, not Ultra, Extreme. I don't know. Dream Coat. It's like a Dream Coat on crack. Like,
probably not.
Why do you hate it? I want to know.
I feel like it doesn't do anything like positive for anything that anybody's hair that I've put it in, even my own. Like, it hasn't done anything positive for me.
Oh, see, I don't feel like so this, for those of you that don't know this product, the whole premise is like you can put it in your hair and it'll last 3 washes. I don't believe in that, like, at all. But I feel like it has helped with my frizzy curly hair,
well, that's
my
good.
own hair, if I'm using it like before a night out. Now, if you get caught in the rain, it does nothing. That's what I'm saying. Like, I definitely don't like how it's branded, like that you can get 3. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of products that we all like go back and forth on.
Yeah. I mean, not everybody's gonna like what the other person likes, for sure. And everything works in everybody's hair differently.
It does. Yeah. Well, and everybody's hair is different textures. And you know, I don't think I've ever just used that product by itself. Like when I'm using it in my hair, I'm using it with a mousse, which is also giving hold.
Yeah, I tried it by itself.
I mean, that could be... Do you have frizzy hair?
I never used to, but I'm starting to.
Because I feel like our hair textures are really different.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I would even think to put it in your hair.
Yeah, I just put it in mine. Because I was like, I don't like it in anybody else's. Let me see let me see what it's in mine.
Yeah, I mean, so maybe it's like I like it as an added thing. Maybe it's in my head that I feel like it does something. But I never just use that. I'm always using when I use it in a blowout, like when I do blowouts on people, because I do like the round brush where you leave the brushes in. When I do that, I'm always also using usually Sexy Hair's Root Pump Plus. And then a volume building mousse.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could really be like
a combination.
All three of those things.
Because I feel like
sometimes a smoothing cream, depending on like whose it is. I don't think I've
hair,
just put it into somebody's hair and just blended it out with just that product.
Yeah. I feel like Sexy Hair too is really good about frizz. Like none of their products or all of their products target
because
frizz.
the mousse does. And that's what I tell people all the time. Like, I'm like, if you can get the Dream Coat and can add it, that's good. But like, that's the mousse. Mousse in a blowout, you just need it. I'm sorry. Yeah. As a curly hair girl, you just need mousse in a blowout if you're trying to go for straight, especially here in Charleston.
Or like the bombshell type blowout.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah.
Especially like you were saying, a brush set, like leaving the brushes
Have you tried
in.
the bombshell from Color Wow, their volume? Girl, I don't want you to buy it because I know you don't like the color. I do feel like their bombshell. The thing is, I feel like you need a good bit of it. Whereas I feel like it really works. Like the bombshell, like it gives volume. But I feel like you get more.
I'll come over. You can blow dry my hair with it.
Yeah, and we can do that hairstyle again, like we did for the photo shoot that you love so much.
I did love that.
It looked really good. Honestly, looking at the time, I know we promised you day of like tips and tricks, and we really just talked about how to come with your hair. But I feel like we should save this for another episode because I feel like we could tie this in with other vendors and what their tips and tricks would be and do like a whole episode about this.
That would be cool.
Okay, so that's just the teaser, guys. We only told you what to do about how to come with your hair, but it is what it is.
Yeah, we'll have more tips from you from all the vendors.
Yes, but my tea is done. Hallie is knocked out, and I need to get on the road. I got a lot of stuff to do here.
All right. Well, that concludes episode 2. Peace out. Find us on Instagram and TikTok. And we're reveiled REVEILED_wedding_pod on all social platforms that we're on currently. You can also find this podcast if you're listening on like Podbean, which we use to broadcast this. You can find us on Spotify. What other podcast stuff at YouTube?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you listen to your podcast, you can probably find us now, which is exciting.
Yeah, and same thing. If you want to hear specific things, if you want to tell stories, please let us know. Get in touch. We do have 2 guests lined up when we can make it work. You know, we're all still people. We have other jobs, other things. So we're just trying to like do these when we can get together.
One day we'll have a schedule.
But if you want to be a guest, let us know.
Yeah. Email us at our website shit.
Yeah. And tell us your stories because we do have to like verify that they're appropriate for us to tell.
Yeah. We change all the names if you do send it in.
Yes. Everything is anonymous.
Yes.
You don't have to be anonymous. Like if you want to put your name out there.
Yeah, I do need to change that. If you don't want to be anonymous, I'll make sure I change that.
You can be ballsy and leave your name out there. But we have to change, even if you're okay with people knowing your story, we can't have identifying.
Yeah, like if Bridget hurt you, we can't let everybody know that Bridget hurt you and her name's going to be
her
Chuck.
name's now Chuck Morgan.
Chuck.
Chuck hurt me.
All right. Well,
all right, y'all.
Peace out.
Stay blessed.
This has been a Trolley Productions.